We haven't really met since late last year when we had that big food dig.
The school that Rebecca attends in the Lockyer Valley has two chaplains who, together with the school's own support team, have been working with students in the peer support network to help the recovery process.
I basically were there, just told them I was there for them and that. So, yeah.
Sometimes it wasn't actually that their house was flooded, but the roads were so washed out that they were isolated for weeks and weeks. In fact, up at Junction View, the school bus has only started going up, picking up students there in the last week. That brings a whole gamut of emotional and physical things too, because there's farmers half an hour drive away at Junction View that are holding the fort on the farm. The kids haven't been able to get into school unless they've stayed with relatives in Gatton, and so mum and the kids are in town. They only see dad, once a week. Everything's changed, and some of them are anxious. You get a storm, and it can be a month after the flood. You get a storm, and they're on edge. There was one day a couple of weeks ago, Pauline was looking at the Weather Bureau site so she could tell a girl, look, it's okay, the storm's actually passed now, this bit of rain's tail end, no one got much rain, it's okay, everything's going to be all right, because some of them are really, to use the word spooked, some of them are really spooked.
Further up the Lockyer Valley at Hatton Vale, Chaplain Barry Forbes is dealing with students with similar concerns.
The kids have been, they're just getting so much of this flooding and damage around, and some of them have been involved. The parents have come to me and said, well, young Johnny lost a friend in the flood. Others have watched videos and seen people flowing down the river, trying to grab for trees. So they're obviously having a struggle mentally and emotionally, and so they get sent to me, especially the teachers will send them to me if they see them acting out, and they get an opportunity to just sort of wind down and have a chat.
Obviously there are kids in houses like the one we see behind us here. What do you perceive as some of the issues that they're facing?
Well, financial is the big one. They have to not only at times pay the mortgage on the houses that have been damaged, especially if they own, and then they have to find another place to live with renting. One of the biggest issues I see is the loss of possessions. The floodwater just came in and just gutted the house, took all their possessions. They lose photos, toys, and things that are sentimental and close to them, and a lot of them aren't replaceable.
Barry's contacts into the local community were key to helping him support a single mother and her two children who had lost almost everything.
As soon as I arrived to the school, the administrative officer, Debbie, she said that she had a mother that was in a bit of strife and said that she had a few problems. Would I be able to help her? And she gave me her phone number. So I gave Michelle a call, and throughout the conversation found out that her needs were a car. And she'd actually suffered in the floods because of the fact that her car was washed away and damaged and written off, and the insurance money that she had on that didn't even cover the loan. And then her house was damaged and she had to move out and she lost her contents. So I rang Cess and asked him if he had any cars, and he did, but unfortunately it was a manual. She needed an automatic. And Cess, you're pretty open to be involved, is that right?
When Barry said about a car, yeah, we had some manuals and no good, had to have an automatic. Then a friend of mine, Howard Napper, he had an automatic at home that he's been trying to sell. So then I got Howard and Barry to meet up. We had to do work to get through roadworthy, so we done all that, and then we've issued Michelle with a free service ticket for in 6 months' time.
What was sort of Michelle's response to this happening?
Well, she was overwhelmed to start with, the generosity in the community. She kept trying to give thanks to me, and I said, look, I just facilitated a few things, the networking in the community, and brought it all together. But even with Howard, he was telling stories how it rolled on, and he got a free windscreen donated to the car. Some second-hand tyres were fitted for free, and it just went on, and it was really good. And we also had the finances coming and people donating money to the cause as well. Other than Brisbane and Toowoomba, the other major city to be impacted by the floods was Ipswich. We're here to talk to Paul Pasali, the Mayor of Ipswich, about the whole experience.
You get into Mayor and you're dealing with people, all of a sudden this natural disaster hits your city, there's no rule book, and you start to to deal with things, you know, to clean up. And that was good, actually. The part when the floodwaters hit and things started to happen, I was able to deal with that because I knew exactly what to do. Clean up, get people into houses, make people safe, and start dealing with that. It was later on that started causing the problem. When people have been displaced from their home and it's now 10 weeks and they feel that they've been a bit isolated, the depression, the suicidal tendencies, the psychological problems are starting to set in. You know, from my point of view, that's where I need the help the most, and that's where the chaplaincy has made a tremendous difference. You know, kids that have been displaced from their home, you know, it's all right to have all these people helping them, but they're not in their own bedroom. It is having a psychological effect, and they don't understand it, and that's where the emotion is starting to creep in the city, and that 10-week to 12-week period for our city is so crucial.
What sort of work do you see the chaplains doing in this period of time?
Well, you know, as a mayor, you're running around trying to raise money, you're trying to, you know, get people to donate to the city, you're trying to get as many resources, donated furniture to help people rebuild homes. But it's that spiritual guidance, it's that important of dealing with the emotions that I haven't had the time to do, and I'm starting to see that effect. In the schools is a tremendous support. What they've done is been able to engage with the young kids, get them to talk, get them to feel the emotion, and that tells me that they're being looked after emotionally, because if you don't, I can tell you that's where the depression and all the problems will start to set in.
After the break, how a chaplain's idea to provide practical help has grown into a statewide project.